Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are in the world today, I hope that you are doing okay. And most importantly, my friends, I hope that you are in good health. Once again, welcome to the Common Sense channel. On this channel, we get to talk about those things that people know, that people have thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss. These, my friends, are the things we talk about here on the Common Sense channel. So, once again, welcome to the Common Sense channel. Today, I want to talk to you about the ushering of the New World Order. I think a lot of people don't want to call it for what it is, but let me tell you on the Common Sense channel, and this is true for all historians. Those people, I'm not a historian again, but I can tell you, once you discover yourself, like I've always say on my channel, you will start to see the world like all of those hidden things, the same things that the historians are seeing about where the world is going. Because historians, they look at time. You understand? Time is the essence of everything for someone who is an historian. Once you discover yourself, my friends, you will start to see things. Will be clear to you. You understand. You understand? But the ancestors, again, will help you through the process. They'll be your guide. So for today's topic, we're going to look at the ushering of the New World Order. If you look at history, Germany used to be the center of everything. Most of the philosophers from Germany, Austria, Germany, Austria, Germany, that used to be the center. Even technology, you understand? At some point, they feel powerful. Yeah, and it still is today. Germany still is today. It hasn't changed. And in the Southeast Asia was Japan, always been. You understand? There's a connection between those two countries. As far as technological advances are, these two, Japan, Germany, Europe, Asia. You understand? So when it was time to usher in the New World Order, then an individual came into the picture, the ones everyone talk about, the dreaded man. You know, his name was Hitler. You know what he was preaching? Nationalism. And although history says the reason for World War II, Europe, aka European Civil War, was, you know, just the biggest bad, mean Hitler. But it wasn't about that. It was about economics. Always been. He was trying to consolidate the wealth into Germany. That's what he was trying to do. It's all about economics. They'll never tell you this. But once you start to study, you see, and it's the same thing happening today in our world. I'm not saying this to equate Hitler to our president, but you can see in every war, in every time when there's an ushering of a new age, it's always economics. It's always in the mix. It's always been about economics, the fight for resources. You know, it's always been about that. It's always been about nationalism. You rally the people up and let them know that something is happening to them and they need to fight for their life. That's what happened. That's what happened in Germany at the turn of the century when Hitler came into power. It's the same thing happening to our world today, but it's happening in a different way. Because at that time, the world was not as connected, even though they had the League of Nations, but it was not as connected as it is today, where more and more people have I would say, pseudo independence, especially Africa. That time, Africa was just a colony, a dump site, a place where people dump things, and a place where people take things. Europeans, colonizers take things from. So Africa didn't have a sense of, I won't say sense of self, but it was demoralized, humiliated, disrespected, abused. It was the place where everyone can go and do whatever and get out free. So, and it was a place where people could abuse, take, exploit. So, in terms of our world today, Africa was not there, but I can almost say it's the same thing today. Even though it's a little bit brushed off or polished a little bit, but it's the same thing as it was in the early 20s into the 30s until, the end of World War II, aka American European Civil War. So today, when we look at our world, we see the United States is the world's most powerful country. We can't take that. Same as it was during the time of Germany before World War II, aka European Civil War. It's the same thing. So the role Mr. Trump is playing is inevitable. So when you are looking at the situation now, don't be upset. That's why I keep telling. When you're using emotion to inform your decision, you will make mistakes. All you can do, if you ask the common sense China, is to look at history. History is always relevant. It's always there. It will help inform you that there are people in this world, all they do is just study these things. They don't have no other job. They just sit and look at the trend and they compare and they contrast. They compare and contrast. That's all they're doing every day. And they're seeing the similarity and they see where everything is going. You don't have the luxury to do that. You understand? Because you don't have the time. Me personally, I don't have the time because I have to work and do other things. But the moment I arrive in this country, and I start to understand the genesis of the black race, Africa, where I was from. Because when I was a little boy growing up, I didn't really have normal childhood. Like other kids went out and played. The only time I remember playing was from the early 80s, maybe 86 to 90. That's it. Playing as a child. From that moment on, it was all about war, insurrection, war, coups, and all that stuff. So when I arrived in this country, I wanted to know why. And I spent years, I started doing this in high school, just studying, looking at what's happened, how my country got to where it ended up, and why I'm here. And I started piecing these things together. Once I came to my conclusion, I was upset. But how do you channel that? That upset or that feeling that you have to know that someone was exploiting you that resulted to what you hear. Like I've always said on my channel, war is not good. It's terrible. But it ushering change. Some of the changes may be good and some of them may be bad. Because if it wasn't for the war in my country, I would have never been able to travel extensively like the way I did. Because I went just within Africa, we went from not even one country, more countries. And as the result of that, we start to understand that when your country is at peace, it's a great thing. We start to understand that war wasn't even good because each of these countries that we went to, the reception of the people there were not nice at all. I'm not going to call names, but anyone that grew up in the 90s start to understand themselves and what was happening in their countries, that had to leave their country to another country, they knew what was happening to them. This is just within the continent of Africa alone. You understand? So what I'm trying to say is war would allows you to expand your mind. It allows you to travel, allows you to see things that would change the course of your life. So you wouldn't have to encourage anything like that to happen to you that would make you drift away from your land, your country. But in the weather of all of that, someone is benefiting from that, from your predicament or your demise, whatever is happening to you at that moment. So what is happening now in our world right now can either inform you if you're paying attention or if you're just following the trend, the emotion. And on the Common Sense channel, that's what I do, to take you away from there and say, look at the bigger picture. So what our president is doing, he is actually ushering the new world order. Hitler did the same thing too, and the world never been the same after that. Ask those people that live after that, they'll tell you. And including our world today, because anyone can make the case. If Hitler had not done what he did, Africa, this is honestly the truth, Africa would have never been free, so-called free, than what it is today. We would have still been colonized. Most of the world, not just Africa, even Southeast Asia would have never been what it is today. In as much as what he did was terrible, but it bringing a new age, a new world order. Mr. Trump is doing the same. All you need to do is pay attention. Now, let me say this. Mr. Trump, President Trump, is like your wife. Say you the man, and what she been putting up with this. She want to say it to you, but she's thinking how it will react to you, or how you will react about what she's about to say to you. And then one day she mustered the strength to tell you, hey, honey, I love you. I will always love you. I will always be on your side. But I want to say this. I don't think you're doing me right in bed. I think you need to up your game a little bit or more. And you're shocked. You're like, what? No. And she said, yeah, I'm just being honest with you. Just imagine, as a man, I'm a man, I know what that does to your psyche the entire day. Some men would internalize that to a point where they will be forced to do things that are not really healthy, but they'll do it anyway, just to meet up that standard, or just to address her concern. Some men were just like, I don't care. So that's the situation that the world is in today. Donald Trump is, even though sometimes he says some of the things that people don't want to hear, but in honesty, a true friend now, a true friend. I'm not making the case for the president, but I'm just telling you elements that will show you that the new world order is about to come into play or come into being. That's what's happening. Everything Donald Trump is doing, if you look at them, their genesis started when he first ran. He was telling that, if you notice, some of you, if you pay attention, the first continent that Donald Trump was hot on was Europe. He told Europe to take care of their own affairs. He told them to pay more for their security. He was hard on them. And then he drifted from Europe. He went to China. You know, it's of late, even talk about Africa too. But he was hard on Europe. And whatever he's doing today is just continuation from where he started during his first term. It's just that way. So Donald Trump is that friend that tells you those things that you're not willing to accept and see. So Donald Trump looked at America and said, let's make America great. Let's make it first. Basically, if you look at what he was saying, the subliminal messages that he was sending was telling you to make your country first. And imagine the entire 4 years. And Donald Trump is so focused that in spite of what happened during that first election, 2020, the election that he lost, you understand? He never even come to grip with that. because he was willing to take this. Imagine if he had won that second term, what the world would have looked like. You understand? That's his goal. That's what Donald Trump is working. He will be the one. He is the one that's going to usher in the new world order. And he was telling the world that this is what you need to do. Pay attention to your people. Pay attention to your country. Make your country first. Make your country great. That's the whole essence of that slogan. Some of you sit there, you think it's racist. You have the right to your opinion, but you just need to look outside of the confound of your imagination and start to see what this man is doing. You understand? He's ushering the new world order. All of the things he's doing now with these countries, putting restrictions on this, telling who can come into this country and who cannot come into this country. This is for you to sit down and think. And think for yourself. I'm talking to countries. And think for yourself that take care of your people. You have everything that you need. Those things that you can't get for yourself, you can buy them somewhere. Again, the Almighty Creator has given to mankind everything that we need. We don't need to look anywhere. We don't need to go to Venus. We don't need to go to Mercury. We don't need to go to Jupiter for nothing. Everything is here. Each country on this planet has been blessed with enough resource to handle the affairs of the people. Now, Donald Trump is speaking to leaders who are not putting the country first. The whole policies is about that. And if you can't see it, you are blinded. And you're sitting there, you're calling names. All those name callings, they're just distraction, my friends. When they call him this, that, it's distraction. Look at what Donald Trump is doing. He's focusing on the country. Hey, don't bring this here. Don't bring that. Things that leaders in the past didn't do. It's what he's doing. If you don't know, when Hitler came to office in Germany, he helped repatriate some of the Europeans, Jews that wanted to go back to Europe. They didn't tell you that it's true. He started that process of sending back European Jews that wanted to go back to Europe, to wherever they call the Middle East. They were even in the process of looking for a place where they could go. And they chose that place called the Middle East. You understand? For a homeland for European Jews. It's the same thing that's happening. You can't see it. A lot of people are being repatriated to their country. It's called, you know what it's called? Self-deportation. You don't need to be told that it's time for you to out and go. Some people are leaving. There's also statistics on that. When they look at the population now in this country, people are just leaving. I know people that have already left this country. You understand? So it's the same thing that's happening. It was happening in 19, around 1941, 1942, maybe 1939 or 38, 39, 41, 40, 42, like that. It was just a huge migration of people leaving Europe. Some of them ended up here in America. You understand? Some of them went in South America too. Some of them went to Africa. It's the same thing happening today. All you need to see is just see all you need to do is just pay attention. All of these things happening. If you notice, if the power that be wants to distract you, they can just do anything. Because they control your mind. Not everyone's minds are controlled, but those people whose minds are not controlled, they are paying attention. If you notice, the people that control this world, they are not complaining. They're not saying anything because this man is on a mission to usher in the new world order. Now, you see South America, I don't think there's going to be a war in Venezuela. I don't think so. I know there are people out there that believe that too. But what's happening if America really wanted to attack Venezuela as a country? Do you think America don't have the capability to do that like tomorrow? They can do it. But they're in warfare or in war situation before a country goes to war. They don't just consult the national security advisor. No. Any leaders, they have to weigh in certain things, certain factors before they do such a thing. But honestly, in spite of all, they had some of them have religious leaders they speak to. And some of these leaders say, oh, well, we don't need to spread religion in South America anyway. They're very religious people. So it's not a good thing. Hey, don't go there. Oh, maybe just take some time. Just scare him a little bit. Scare him and see what happens. So I think that's what's happening. I don't think there's going to be war in South America involving Venezuela and the United States. The reason is simple. If that ever happened, two things will happen. Two things, right? The first, it's gonna unite South America. Mm? Right now, all these few months, there are countries in South America that are very petrified and they are fortifying. They are weighing which way to go. They are trying to find, especially those who are running the dictatorship in Africa, in South America, I'm sorry. They are finding ways to protect themselves and the government and the leadership and the hierarchies. You understand? So all of that thing, if that ever happened, it's going to unite South America. And the unification of South America, if that ever happens, oh my God, it's going to be so powerful. There's just so many things that will happen. The second thing that could happen, huh, if unity don't happen in South America, it's a huge migration. You understand? It's going to happen and it's going to blow everything up. And these people, Mr. Trump and his folks, they are thinking about that. But to be honest, if America wanted to attack Venezuela, they could have done that a long time ago. And this would have been, I don't think it's going to be 1 week thing. I don't think it's going to be 1 month. I don't think it's going to be 2 months. It could be a prolonged war. You understand? It could go beyond 2 weeks. It could go because here's the thing. 1960s in the early 60s, 70s, 80s, those were different time. You understand? Historian would tell you that most of this South America, I don't like to say Latin America, I like to say South America because that's part of the Americas. Most of those countries in there, they didn't have a self of a country. They're relying on others, to survive, to become a country, even though they had all these natural resources. But you can have all the natural resources if you don't have the equipment to extravate them, to use them. They're useless. Not useless in the sense, but they're just gonna sit there. So you needed to align with countries that has that capability. You understand? But the world has changed. We're talking about maybe 70, 80 years ago. The world has changed, So doing things like you used to do before, not going to work now. You understand? So those are the two things that could happen if Mr. Trump ever go to war with Venezuela. But I don't think he's going to do that. Yeah, I don't think. There's so much how they call it, so much a connection right now in South America that wasn't there, say, 50, 60 years ago. There's just so much interest in Venezuela and in most South American countries now. So the unification of South America, I don't think the United States wants that to happen because if there's a war down there, it will happen. Even the old lady in the village is going to take up arms. Even the young boy is going to take up arms. And looking at Venezuela, I've done some digging on Venezuela. The people of Venezuela are just like America too. They're very patriotic. Don't listen to all that stuff they're telling you all the time. No, very patriotic. That's why, you remember Hugo Chavez, right? He was there for a long time. They, even though someone said that they do love their country. I'm telling you, Venezuelans love their country. Yeah, and they most of them are highly educated too. Yeah, most Venezuelans are highly educated. Ask anyone that's dealt with them or work with them. They're not stupid people. They're not like someone you can just brainwash like that. The Venezuelans are very educated people, and they know what they want. So again, I'm not going to plead to Mr. Trump because I've already done that, but I know Donald Trump is no fool. Donald Trump is no stupid. And anyone thinks he is, you don't understand Mr. Trump. How do you think he gets to where he is today? Can be a fool, very intellectually sound, but he is helping usher in a new world order where all these countries, they were not taking care of the people, using them as pawns, using them as slaves to enrich themselves. It's time he's sending a message that you need to take care of yourself. Take care of your people. Take care of your country. Make your country great. Once you've done that, then come, let's talk. America is always going to be great. America is always going to be around. All those people, since I've been in this country, I remember when I was in high school, there are people saying, oh, America is going to fall. The empire is going to fall. I remember hearing that. I think I've had time when I sat and talked about what are they talking about. And I've always been that person that want to just know stuff. Like, I just came to this country and now you're saying it's going to fall? What's going on with that? I just came from a war situation. And I'm trying to get myself up together, bundle myself up, starting a new life over in a new place I had no idea about. And now you're talking about this country, the great United States, going to fall. So that kind of intrigued me. And I started looking at it. And over the years, since I've been here, I've learned that was just hot talk, hot air. It didn't have no validation in it. It couldn't work. And it would never work. America can only minimize their power. You understand? America has troops everywhere in the world. So America can only minimize that. But it don't mean that the empire is going to fall. All that stuff is happening in Europe. I'm not going to say Donald Trump is involved, but Donald Trump wouldn't want that situation to end either. Because what it does is it's going to allow Europeans to start to see themselves different and start to put in place things that will make the continent better too. I just hope that he talk more sense into them so they can see the realization of what's happening to Europe, So, but yeah, Africa, there are countries, Africa will rise. Africa will rise out of this. It will rise because all of those restrictions, if you look at Donald Trump, this country right here, restriction, you know how many countries Donald Trump has put restrictions on? In Africa alone? Lot. Donald Trump could have just put restriction on a continent. But he's restricting some of these countries. Why? Because he thinks the government of these countries are not doing right by their people. It's not a stable. What's a stable country? A stable country is a country where everything is normal. The life of the people are okay. The economies are okay. Stability is prioritized in these countries. That's a stable country. So if there's a restriction on these countries, that means they're not stable. That means there's problems. So what does that say to a country? If your friend tells you, I know you've been coming to my house every day to chill, to eat, spend your money in my bar. I don't want you to come here again. You can hold on to your money and your business. I'm fine. Stay over there. You don't look like you're going to come here and help me anyway, because anytime you come to my bar or my restaurant, there's always conflict. And you're not stable, so please stay over there. If someone ever told you that, how will you react? That's what Donald Trump is telling these people. Stay in your country, man. Make your country great. You're talking about the elites in this country. The ones that are coming here are not the popoli poor. The popoli poor, the poorest of the poorest. No. The ones that wants to come to America, with the visa and everything. These are the elites in these countries. So Donald Trump is saying to them, you stay over there. You want to come for medical treatment here? Build one in your country. You want to come for pleasure? Build recreation centers in your country. You want to come here to enjoy or shop? Shop in your country. Build malls, hotels, build places where people can shop and buy quality things. Do that for your country. You want to come here to bank over here? Open banks in your country. Keep your money there. That's what he's telling them. And guess what? They're not seeing it. The thing that I'm not really, I just want to see what the next 3 years or maybe 2.5 years would look like with Mr. Trump in office. That's the only thing I'm intrigued about, because just within the first year alone, that's how you know Donald Trump has an agenda to really shape this country. Because within the first year alone, what this man has been able to achieve alone is incredible. You just need to watch. Not making the case for anyone. I'm just looking at this situation as an independent thinker. That's what I've always done on my channel. I've always done this. I don't take side with no one. Because at the end of the day, all of us are Americans. We need to see America first. Whatever country you're from, if you're here and you're Americans, you need to see this country first. Don't look at politics. Don't look at that, because that's the one that's dividing you. Just see the country first and see what he's doing. It's nationalistic, and that's what I think the world should be. Every country in this world must be nationalistic. It's not going to lead to nothing. It's not going to lead to World War II. Hitler was about economics. Plus, you remember, right after World War I, they had so much debt they had to pay. Where was the money coming from? The League of Nations had charged Germany to pay all this money in restitutions for what they'd done to those countries in World War II. So they had to pay. Where was the money coming from? So economics was the thing. Remember, Germany was still in Namibia. Germany was still in Togo. This is Africa now. Germany had a colony in these countries. I don't know which other country, but those were the two. And guess what was happening? Those people, they have their own history too. Terrible, terrible. Germany had to find a way to pay all these debts. Technology was the way. Even today, Germany, the technology is more advanced. You understand? Germany, the technology is built on discipline. It's based on hygiene. You understand? The technology is still there. And that's what it can sell. You can sell, some people just think you can sell, how they call it, raw material. You can sell technology too. That's what Japan sells. What does Japan have? Nothing, but they have technology passed down to them by the ancestors. And it continues. So yeah, what Mr. Trump is doing, some people may see as bad. But I think if you're in South America, you need to wake up. Wake up. Teddy Pendergrass, the greatest of all greatest, says, wake up, everybody. There's no sleeping in bed. He said the world is changing. Imagine, listen to that song. He was telling us in his own day and time, he was telling us that the world was changing. And it's no time to be sleeping. Because if you're sleeping, you're not going to see none of these changes happening. And that's what he was telling us. In his time, you need to wake up and see what's happening in the world. Those people that understand these things, they're not worried. They're not sitting there saying, oh, there's going to be this war. You think if America want to deal with Venezuela, they wouldn't have gone there? You think? They could have done that. If you look at the world now, the revolution actually started in America, if you ask me. The revolution that brought about all of the changes, all of the things Mr. Trump is doing today, actually started in this country. It started way before 2016. It's just the people tired of prolonged war. They're just tired of of seeing things happening around them, and then they can't do anything about it. They're just tired of politicians masquerading as nationalistic and doing nothing for them. So the revolution had already started here, and then it just what's happening today. This is a revolution, my friend. And the thing is, they say when America's cough, the whole world gets cold. That's what's happening. So the revolution that had started here in 26, I can say before 2016, but let's say 2016, that would usher in Mr. Trump. Because when I first came into this country, I didn't know Donald Trump like that. I know him for these tall buildings that you can look up and you still won't be able to see the end. That's what I knew him for. And I always marvel at that. Like, who built that? Who did that? You understand? That's what I knew him for. But 2016, like, whoa, who is this guy? So he is positioned now to usher in the new world order. And it's going to happen. Don't know how, but I know South America will not be the one to usher in it, but it will happen because all of those interests that have always been the bone of contention to this country are starting to emerge into that conflict. Pay attention. Pay attention. And we see these same forces in Africa too. Maybe sometime it's going to be in Southeast Asia. If you're paying attention, these same elements are going to be there. So imagine when all of these things happen, what do you think will happen? That's the question. Wake up, everybody. There's no sleeping in bed. If you're a lawyer, do the right thing. If you're a doctor, do the right thing. If you're a teacher, do the right thing. That's what Teddy Pendergrass had said. And that's word. So as I've always done in my videos, is to say this. The greatest thing that could ever happen to anyone is not the day you were born, not the day you had your first car, the day you graduated from high school, college, the day you became a lawyer, doctor, none of that stuff. The greatest thing that could ever happen to anyone is the day you discover yourself. Because from that day on, my friends, everything will start to make sense to you, including understanding what Mr. Trump is doing. Mr. Trump is ushering in the new world order. And that new world order is not going to destabilize this country. It's not going to. Don't be petrified. Go to sleep, relax, but pay attention. America is still going to be great. Yeah, still going to be great. It's just going to be a multi-polar world where everyone has their own leverage and they're able to work together. It's going to happen. We're not going back. Remember, we're not going back into medieval age. No. We're moving forward. The world is moving forward. And that order will shift everything. It's not going to be one person, one hegemony. No. It's going to be a new world order where everyone is in it together, have leverage. Understand? It's going to be good for South America too. But at the end of everything, I don't think America is going to go to war with Venezuela or any country in South America. Because like I said, those two things, it will unite the South Americans and it will cause, if it don't unite them, it will cause a huge mass migration. And that's not good. I want to thank everyone that watched my videos. I want to thank all those people that continue to support me. And by the way, I want to also say thank you to my new subscribers that just came on the channel. I honor you. I respect you. This is your place. Here, we talk about those things that people know, that people have thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss, my friends. These are the things we discuss here. So I welcome you to the Common Sense channel. If you have question, concern, don't hesitate to post them here. Please. I hope that you and your family are doing great. Hope that all is pleasant for you. And most importantly, my friends, I hope that you are in good health. Thank you, and have a pleasant day. Thanks.